Good morning. We are working on pastoral counseling, actually theology and practices of pastoral counseling. And today we want to just talk about the relationship counseling. Well, it's kind of a more practical thing rather than professional or psychological or too much things. Because relationship counseling is pretty basic that's kind of um, pastoral counseling setting is kind of be part of that. And then pastors are supposed to have good relationship with others. It's like regular counselors and psychiatrists want to have rapport with their clients so that they can trust each other and they can open their minds and hearts more, so the counselors can understand more, and they're gonna have a more chance to help them out. With relationship counseling, there are the marriage counselings and family counselings and many other things. And basically, pastors are supposed to build a good relationship with their clients. If they are coming from the local for any counselings, it's going to be okay. But the church members, if they don't trust their pastors, they're not going to come for any help, for any that's not so. You have to build your good relationship with your church members, and if you have kind of guests from your community, then you have to use your own skills for building rapport, so that they can share what they have in their minds and in their situations. Relationship counseling. As persons made in the image of triune God, it's kind of a hard words, right? Triune. It's kind of that is a mystery, but it's kind of simple. Triune God. That means God the Father, God, Jesus, the Son of God, and the Holy Spirit. There are three persons, but they are working together and they are one. They are one God, but three persons. It doesn't mean that there is one body and three heads. No, three individual persons, but they are one because they think same but they have a different jobs. I think so. Anyways, as persons made in the image of the triune God, we are relational beings. Triune God, so three persons, but they are working together, which means God knows what the relationship is, and God is in relationships condition, right? So three persons are working together, and they just from in the beginning. In the beginning means there is no beginning point. If there is any beginning point, that is not real beginning. Okay, so in the beginning, breast, bara Elohim, and God created in the beginning. So it's kind of very hard concept. So there is no beginning point, but we cannot say what is the beginning point. But because we don't understand and we don't know what the beginning is, and we just call it beginning, but we are not pinpointing any point. So they worked together, even Jesus Christ, as a Son of God, he didn't work together with God for creation thing. Okay, that's what the Bible said. Anyways, the three persons are one and they are working together, which means God naturally and intentionally, God created a people as a relationship being. Okay, relational beings. Okay, the quality of our relationships has a direct bearing on our personal well-being. Okay, so what if you have everything? Gold, money, house, cars. Not only one car, but cars you like. You just name it. You just pick whatever you want. You got everything. But you are alone. There is no one else. But you are the only person. Then do you think you're going to choose that, but you have nothing, but you have people, families? What do you want to choose? You are poor. You have no car. You have no money. You don't have any gold bars. Then, but you have family members. You have wife, kids, parents, and siblings, relatives. Which life do you want to choose? Well, I want to choose this, so I can enjoy this and that, everything, and I want to just, drift with the Rolls Royce or whatever, the Lamborghini or Ferrari or something like that, but I'm gonna just bore with it, because there's nobody, who can watch while I'm enjoying those things. I have nobody to talk with. I have nobody to, excuse me, I have nobody to watch. Okay? Then that's going to be a problem. I don't know, just sneezing, this classroom is kind of making me sneeze. Anyways, so the quality of our relationship is important. Then we can think about this. You have a wife, but you don't have a good relationship with her. You have a husband, but you don't like him anymore, and he doesn't like you anymore. He doesn't love you anymore. Okay, the relationship is husband and wife, but the relationship is no good. So the quality of the relationship with your wife, with your husband, especially, mainly, because that couple, husband and wife, will spend, many years until they decide to separate, but they're gonna just stay together for a long time before they got the babies, and after their kids just just leave your house for college studying or for their jobs or whatever, and then there are only you and your wife and you and your husband. Okay, but your relationship with your husband and wife it's not happy. You don't have a happy. You are not happy with the relationship, and then what? You have a beautiful kids, but you don't have a good relationship with your kids. Your kids are cursing you, and they left you. A friend of mine, he's very close to me, and I haven't heard anything from him so far, but his father just ran away when he was little. Well, that happens in the United States a lot, So just half of the families, they are living with, single mom, single dad, or remarried with a stepmom, stepfather. I'm not saying, stepmothers and stepfathers are no good for their kids. I'm not saying that they could be better than their real mothers and fathers. I'm pretty, but that's what's so called broken families. Then what do you think? The quality of your relationship is heavily affect to your well-being, right? So within a family, there are multiple relationships. Yes, spouse to spouse, parent to parent, parent to child, sibling to sibling, as well as multiple extended family relationship involving grandparents, in-laws, uncles and aunts, cousins, nephews and nieces. Those are good packet, nice set. Well, I have no siblings or relatives in the United States because I just came to the States with my wife and two kids, and that's it. All my family, extended family members are in my home country. It's kind of lonely sometimes. Yeah. But that's how we are living in this country right now. I got citizenship a long times ago, many years ago, and somebody asked me if that was okay. I had no problem when I got the citizenship. What's the matter? I'm living in here, and I have no plan to, move to another country. Yeah. If I want to just move to another country, I can move. If there is any, mandatory citizenship there, I can change my citizenship there. What's wrong with that? I don't want to just live in this country without any citizenship. It's a wanderer. I'm not a wanderer. I'm living in this earth. And this is the country I'm living in. Okay? As long as I'm living in here, this is my country. There's no problem. Especially in the United States, there are lots of, people. Lots of people came from, Europe, undocumented, long times ago, and documented later on. Lots of undocumented and documented and undocumented people from Europe, Africa, Asia, Latin America, Northern America, from Canada or whatever. The reason there is no problem for me is that because I belong to God, and I'm God's children, and whole country, whole earth, whole universe is belong to God, and that He's the owner. So I don't have any problem that it's like I'm living in California right now, but I can live in New York, I can live in Chicago if I want. I can live in any Asian countries, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, or whatever. I can live in any European countries. Same thing to me. Anyways, within a family there are multiple relationships. Okay, whether you are living away or not, but you still have multiple relationships. Given the extent of emotional baggage that we carry as human beings, we should not underestimate the therapeutic value of prayer and worship as vehicles for the gospel assurances of forgiveness and healing. Nor should we underestimate the restorative value of being part of a faith community that places a healing and reconciliation at the heart of its life together. Well, it's kind of a sudden, change of the topic, but that means that we have relationship with others, family members or our community members or our neighbors, but at the same time, we have a relationship with our God too. And when we worship the Lord, that's the relationship between God and myself. And at the same time, when I have worship together with my friends and church members, they are part of my extended relationship. I have extended relationship with those people, and then I worship the Lord with those people, and that's what's so called. Those people are what's so called God's children, children of God. So because those are children of God, and I'm a child of God, and they're gonna be my siblings spiritually. I don't like some people. I like some people. You can say that, but still, they are my brothers and sisters, friends. They are my kids. They are my parents. All right. So that is quite important. And then, in that sense, I have spiritual relationship with them, and I have a relationship with those people. Okay. So, and then relationship counseling, from a Christian perspective, should bear in mind this sort of interpretive framework. It will encourage a process of reflection. For example, what are the key events and experiences that have a bearing on my situation? And what have been their effects? Interpretation. How might I interpret these events and experiences biblically and theologically, as well as personally? And discernment. What might the Spirit be saying in the midst of all this? So, reflection, interpretation, and discernment. When we have relationships with others, and we want to just understand, there is the framework. We want to just take a look, and then reflection. What are the key events and experiences that were bearing on my situations, and what have been their effects? Reflection. So, since my kids left my house for their college work or just government services, jobs, I'm just reminding and thinking and reflecting many things I had with them while they were in my house. They were beautiful, pretty, active, so bright. Yes, there were some cries and painful events and experiences. But still, I can remember and reflect good, memories too. Those are great kids. Those are big blessings for me. Biggest blessings in my life. I can't just, compare with them with anything else or anybody else. Especially when I just, whenever I pray and just driving, and I have good, and I realized that I had great, memories and experiences with them, and so interpretation. How might I interpret these events and experiences biblically and theologically, as well as personally? Personally, it was great with my kids, and biblically, those are big blessings for me, and those are great kids given to me by the Lord. Okay. And discernment. What might the Spirit be saying in the midst of all this? God loves me, so He just gave those gifts to me. and I had a great life with those kids. And I am, enjoying that, even though they just, living apart. I mean, living away, but I'm just believing that I'm gonna just have a really nice time in the future still. So last weekend, my daughter just stopped by my house and spent the night. That was a sudden visit, but that was very exciting and that was very beautiful. And I really enjoyed her, for a short moment, even though she just came early in the morning, like 4 a.m. something, and she left, Sunday morning. But she was busy to meet, her friends. So I didn't have, very long good time with her, but that was very nice to meet her. And then discernment, very nice. But at the same time, you can just think about your own family members and your neighbors and your church members you are serving, worshiping together with, and your co-workers and colleagues and friends, and you can think about those things. So by thinking of those, people you have a relationship with, and then you can just, review the relationships, or you can enjoy the, good memories or bad memories with them, because we can, enjoy good memories and bad memories, even though that was painful, and then, but memories are memories, because all bad things passed away, and why not? We can enjoy that too. So by thinking those things, we can just remember what kind of relationships and we have, we're gonna have, right? In the relationship counseling, we wanna just think about the premarital counseling. That is heavy. That is very important. I led some wedding services, and whenever I, led the wedding services, whenever they asked me for the wedding and presiding the wedding services, I usually offer at least 3 times marriage counseling. At least 3 times. So I just usually provide a biblical meaning of the wedding, and I encourage them to have MBTI so that they can see themselves and their relationships, their spouses, and then that's the time they can understand each other. Well, they people usually just spend 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 years to get together, and then they decided to get married. All right, I understand that. What's wrong with that? I don't know if there's anything wrong or not, but they had a good time together and they decided to get married. They have a baby and they decide to get married. They can have babies, but they without marriages. But I don't encourage that things. But well, what I can encourage is that you wanna just have a good relationship and you get married and you have babies and something like that. That's what Bible said. But that's what it is. Nowadays, young people are living together and they separate, living together, separate, and finally they decided to get married, and then they propose, and then I don't know why girls don't propose. Do they? It's kind of curious. Girls can propose too. Why they have to wait until their boys can decide? Who's the decision maker? I mean, proposal is a proposal. I can propose something. My wife can propose something. There's nothing wrong, right? But I don't know why boys are proposing first. It's kind of weird. I'm believing that girls can propose too. They can be accepted or denied or declined. There is no problem, I think. Do you think girls are supposed to be passive always? I don't think so. I don't know why. That just popped in my mind, so I just mentioned that. Premarital counseling. So before you have good marriage, or bad marriage, or sad marriage, or happy marriage, or whatever it is, before you get married, you want to get premarital guidance. That's what I want to encourage you. So before they decide to get married, actually, they are supposed to get marriage counseling way before their marriage. Not after they decide to get married. What if they decided, what if they just decided to separate? Because they realize that their fiancés are not quite proper to themselves, and then they decided, oh, we're gonna separate. They can decide that too. Why not? Marriage counseling is not forcing two people to get married. No, marriage counseling is just it's kind of a great chance that they can think about themselves and others. Okay. Why not? So marriage counseling is not forcing or encouraging them to get together. No matter what, you are different, you're different. Okay, just get married. No. There's some people they don't like, and they can realize they were thinking that they are okay for their future marriage, but they can realize that is wrong. There is a wrong decision. There was a wrong thinking. Well, I think they can do it because of their backgrounds, because of their the worldview, because of their religions, because of their money, because of their potentials, because of their physical things, because of their sexual relationship, something like that. Then they can separate. I mean, they can know right. So you don't want to be blind because of the love, and then you just make the decision wrong, and you're going to trouble. You got in trouble for many, many years, okay? As long as you decided to separate, or as long, until you change, or until other, spouse is changed, it's not easy. Just two people are living together, it's not easy at all. Okay? So I want to encourage premarital counseling heavily. Before you meet your spouse, after you meet your future spouse, and way before you decide to get married. So it doesn't hurt you any, if you have premarital counseling, but it doesn't hurt you. The fact that most churches require engaged couples to undergo some form of premarital counseling is indicative of the high value placed upon marriage in the Christian tradition. Most churches leave the form and content of premarital counseling up to individual ministers or appointed premarital counselors. Okay. So premarital counseling, that's Christian tradition, and that is quite important. I cannot stress enough on premarital counseling, because once they got married and decided divorce, separate later on, whether that is 1 year after or 1 month after or 1 day after or 10 years after or 30 years after, it's painful. And it's painful not only because you got a record. Who cares the record? Long times ago, people cared that. They don't want to get kind of red ink and red letters on their record. Anyways, it is kind of hard. It's kind of hard. Whether you love your wife or husband or not, it's hard. It's hard, and it's tough, and it hurts. Okay. So one of the most common approaches takes the form of having the couple fill out various questionnaires or inventories that prove certain aspects of a marriage relationship, and which form the basis for discussion with the aim of helping couples to improve their relationship skills. Okay. So nowadays there are lots of inventories, lots of questions you can use, but you can just find it from the internet, so you can just try that on. If you don't want to just meet your counselors or pastors, you want to just check it out, so you can compare and you can talk with your boyfriends or girlfriends, so you can just guess if your marriage, your future marriage or potential marriage can work out well. There's no problem. You have to check it out. When you buy a shoe, a pair of shoes, I'm looking at a pair of boots, but maybe I'm not gonna buy it. I think I just found the one boots I love, but that's expensive, so I'm not gonna buy it. So I have 3 pairs of boots though. I like shoes. But anyways, I have to be patient, because my body doesn't allow that. anyways, just use the inventories and questionnaires. If you are a little bit more serious, you want to just stop by a marriage counseling center, and there are usually MFT masters, marriage and family therapists. They usually got masters, and they have good tools, I think. But yeah, definitely you want to just check their reputation though. Anyways, you can get lots of benefits from the counseling. You can pay just 100, 200 or 300, but you can get kind of reliable things, reliable analysis, reliable kind of test. When you buy a pair of shoes, you just try it on, right? You just try it on and walk and run. You tie it and one can one, you just, try those boots with your, thin socks or medium thin socks or heavy duty socks for the spring, fall and winter or summer. You have to think about that, and then you decide to buy it or not, right? When you buy a cloth, how many times you just take a look? You just try it on and just watch the mirror, here or there, front and back side, or just check the materials and many things, how to care, washing, or how many cottons and polyesters and or linens are there. You check many things, but for a cloth or for a pair of shoes, but you don't want to check. You don't want to try. You don't want to know the person you're gonna have. You're gonna get married. Yeah? How many years are you gonna spend with that person? I've been married 29 years. 29 years. I met her. I got married after I, met her, after the kind of 13 years dating. After the 13 years dating, so it's going to be 42 years. I met her 40, no. What? Yeah, I met her 42 years ago. Right? 42 years ago. I met my wife 42 years ago, and I've been married 29 years. Yeah, definitely there was some risk, kind of, problems and hardships. So actually we decided to, um, you know, we decided to separate it, once or twice or, 3 times or something, because we didn't like each other, you know. Those things happen. Many things happen. Many things happen. Okay. Anyways. So you gotta check it out. And questions, inventories. Do not afraid of all of those things. You can get lots of benefits actually. So don't be shy or do not afraid of those things. You will get lots of help from that. One of the most established of these programs, Prepare, in which, for example, promises to help couples, okay, explore strengths and growth areas. What is your spouse's strengths and where she lived at? Where he lived at. Strengthen communication skills. So for those programs, you can find your strengths too, your growth areas too, all right? And you can strengthen communication skills. As time passes, couples don't talk too much each other together. So they talk more with their friends and neighbors, and they don't talk with their husbands and wives much, because they don't find any reason they can talk with their fiancés. Identify and manage major stressors. You got stress from where? From whom? You got stress from what? Okay. You can get lots of things from that, and then there's no problem at all. You can try. Identify and manage major stressors. You have to know what makes you get stress. Okay, what makes you get more stress? You know, what kind of activities from your fiancés or girlfriends or boyfriends? What make those people? I mean, what make those people? What they do? So you got stress from that. Okay, so whenever I do something, I can make my partner get stressed. You have to understand that too. Resolve conflict. Yes, because you know the problem. If you are willing to, and if your partner is willing to, you or your partner can resolve the conflict. If they didn't know what's the problem, they're not gonna make it because they don't know what's the problem. What the problem is, and they cannot try, to resolve those things. Definitely. If you don't know it, you cannot solve. And develop a more balanced relationships. Because we need lots of skills. When you just ride a bike, you need the skills. When you drive your car, you need the skills. When you go restaurant, even you just order some food for your family members, and you need some skills, because you need to think about this and that, right? If you want to just use a computer, laptop computer, or tablet, or cell phone, you need certain skills to use those things. How many percent of functions do you use with your cell phone? How many functions do you use? What if this phone has 100 functions? How many functions I can use? I don't use too much functions because I just use whatever I want, and that's it. That is it. I mean, there are so many functions. There are so many functions, but I don't use them all. I don't use them all. What I'm doing with that, So just think about that. Think about that. Right? So, but you are living with somebody, and for the better relationship, for the balanced relationship, no dictators, okay? Then um, you need the skill. Yes, we need some certain skills for our relationships. So why people are in a conflict? Well, because they don't understand, their partners, because they don't understand themselves. Yeah. Well, in the beginning of the relationship, certain relationship, they have to learn it. They have to watch it. They have to hear from them. They have to understand what's going on and what your partners are thinking, and their backgrounds, their hobbies, and their habits. And you have to understand your habits and your hobbies and many other things, so you can see, two people can have good relationship. One person likes mounting, trekking, and his partner likes surfing, swimming, fishing, and she doesn't like trekking mountains, and he doesn't like, he has kind of trauma from the water. But they love each other. Do you think that they can have, they can keep their good relationships? I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So we need some skills. You have to understand, you want to understand yourself first. And then you want to understand your partner. And then you have to understand the relationships. You can just imagine the life, with your partner. Those things. And for the better one, you need to keep some skills for the better relationships, definitely. And explore family of origin issues. Okay. You wanna just meet your partner's parents, definitely, absolutely, because by watching and meeting your partner's parents, you can understand your partners better, or you're gonna miss a lot of things. Discuss the fine. It's not limited to their physical things. When their parents have cancers, they have more chances to get cancers. Something like that. Okay. My dad is bald, and I'm losing a lot of hair. If that matters, that matters actually. And discuss financial planning and budgeting. Lots of couples are fighting on money because of the money. Really, bad man. He got married to a, lady, and when they bought a house, he just moved his school loan to the house loan. That was no good. I don't know, the lady allowed, the wife just allowed that or not, but that was. You started and you got school loan, but you wanna, have your wife pay for it. So you better just discuss, if you have any financial loan or not, how much money you have, how much money you are making, and then how much money you can contribute to your couple life, family life, something like that. So establish personal, couple, and family goals. So when you get married, your personal goal can be changed if that is necessary, and you can think about your family goals. What do you want to have? What kind of goals you expect from your family? Okay, so just establish that. Well, you love your wife, so you got married, which is good. But do you have any plan for your family, for the couple? Understand and appreciate personality differences. You are different. Well, people usually say you are wrong, but actually they are different. But they don't want to understand that they're different, and they love their differences. That's why they just fell in love with their wives and husbands because they are different. People just got into people are interested in the differences, right? So whenever you go shopping, you just find something you never seen, and you want to try it because it's kind of new. You never tried it before, so you buy it. and you are willing to pay for that, okay? And what about your girlfriend and boyfriend? They are different, so you're very interested in her, in him. And then you just found something you don't have from your boyfriend and girlfriend, and you like it. You got married, and you sick and tired with the differences. So they fight, and you fight, right? So that is not because of the differences. You cannot find the same person like you. You know, besides you're gonna make a clone in a different sex. Then will you be happy? Well, that's the character problem. So you wanna just have better character. The character is that's the main problem because you are fighting because you are not mature enough. You know because you are too selfish or you are too much um, sacrifice yourself. That is no good too. You sacrifice always, and you're gonna just want out. You're gonna be weary out, and you give up. You're gonna burn. You're gonna burn out. So you wanna understand and appreciate the personality differences. So yeah, we can get actually lots of benefits because our partners are different. So just think about it. You don't like what your partners are doing because they are different with yourself. But at the same time, you can get some benefits, actually good benefits from your partners. Just think about it. Why those programs such as these help couples? I think through many practical aspects of relationships in general and marriage in particular. Many ministers and Christian marriage counselors choose to supplement them with a more biblically and theologically grounded view of marriage that helps inform the couple's understanding of a Christian wedding ceremony. Yeah. So when you got a kind of premarital guidance or premarital counseling, pastors usually provide Bible verses. Which means uh, we are just created by God. That means if I curse or pinpoint so many things on my partner, that means I'm just blaming her creator, God. And God is my creator too, and He's creating people. I mean, I cannot blame God because of my partner. The more I curse my wife's, my fiancés, my spouses, my girlfriends' differences, then that means automatically I'm blaming God. That's not acceptable. Okay. Well, you understand the differences, so you don't want to just enjoy that. Then you can leave. There's no problem. But the problem is that you like and you want to just live with a lady, but you don't like some part of it, so you just blame her, and you blame the Creator, and that is no way. I mean, that is about the type. I'm not talking about the misbehaving. It's not acceptable. Unethical, behaviors. Those are not acceptable. Those are not differences. Those are right and wrong. Okay, but the differences is kind of a type. Type is different. Outgoing, or introvert and outrovert. Those are types. What's wrong with that? You don't like introvert woman? You don't have to get married to the woman. They are bored. Well, they can be fun and they can enjoy, they can laugh, quietly. But it doesn't mean that they are not funny. Okay? So, anyways, you don't like introvert woman, don't stay with those clothes. You can leave. You can find out outgoing person. They left always, and they just talk a lot, and they're gonna pinpoint you a lot. So whenever they got mad, and they're gonna complain a lot. So there are pros and cons. So think about it. But your partner's habit is kind of stealing. That is not acceptable. That is wrong. Okay, that is right and wrong. But I'm talking about the time differences. Okay. So the pastoral counselor is going to provide and then provide biblical information on marriage and couples, the relationship with couples, and so that they can see what God wants to see. Okay. Right? What God thinks about those couples. So you can just think about it. Okay. All right. So in the Bible, parties to a covenant are bound together in an enduring relationship of steadfast love and faithfulness. The primary covenant relationship is one which God establishes. Yes. So God made Adam, and he was watching Adam for a long time, and he was thinking that the God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit are three persons that they are talking together and they are working together, but Adam was the only person. So they thought it's kind of wrong. I mean, looks not good. So God made Adam's girlfriend or wife, Hawa. Okay, the primary covenant relationship is one which God established. Yes, firstly, with all living creatures through Noah. Yes, then with all mankind through Abraham, and then with the ancient Israel through Moses. See, in this context, the covenant can be seen as a relationship that is forged via a set of freely given promises and declarations. That relationship is both binding and freeing. So when we talk about a covenant of marriage, we are not talking about a contractual relationship defined by a mutually agreeable set of conditions. We are talking about an exchange of vows to love. So we vow. We don't say, I love her and she loves me and we are couples. You have to understand why wedding ceremonies have a vow. Okay. I love her, that's a feeling. But the vow is kind of willing, more willing, okay? So whether it is rain or sunshine or hardships or when they get older or something, you cannot say that, oh, you are old, I want to just have a young woman, so bye. Well, you can do that, but that is not right. Many people are doing that. You know. Husband, oh, you used to be a strong man, but you are not strong enough, and I don't like this, weak man, so bye. This wedding ceremony is for, vowing. Vowing, you have to vow. I love you, and I'm gonna love you no matter what. So that's the vow. Okay? That relationship is both binding and freeing. So when we talk about a covenant of marriage, we are not talking about a contractual relationship defined by mutually agreeable set of conditions. We are talking about an exchange of vows to love one another unconditionally, or to put it in the form of a traditional wedding vow. To have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death, us do part according to God's holy ordinance. Excuse me. All right. So, what if so it is wrong to say, I have no feeling to love you anymore. So I want to just separate. But that, honestly, I don't want to love you anymore. So I want to just leave. That is the right words, but that is still wrong because you vowed and you are just, doing against what you vowed when you got married. So marriage must be one of the biggest events in our lives, and just break the vow, and that's why people don't trust them much because they broke one of the biggest and important vow in their lives. So for that, pastors are supposed to give them good counseling on the basis of that, and we can use lots of inventories, questionnaires, and programs for just helping those people, right? Okay, that's all. So we're gonna just take a look at marriage counseling next week.